I'm sitting here with the King Moshi Monster.
The King?
Yeah.
Goodness, I've never been called that before.
I know, the head Moshi Monster.
Chief of the Moshi Monsters. When we met 2 years ago, we were just about to launch to the public. We'd been in private beta. We had a few thousand users. But everyone rolled their eyes when we told them we were building a new virtual world for kids. There were hundreds out there. Club Penguin was miles ahead. And over the last 2 years, we've seen incredible growth. So the first year, we grew to about 1 million registered users, all through word of mouth, nice steady growth. And then, if I can find my graph, then things really took off. Exhibit A.
Exhibit A is being captured.
So we met, I think it was around here. So when we had about 5 users, basically.
And you showed me this, you were doing the cell phone thing.
Yes, we had a little thing we called a Mopod. So I think we got a bit ahead of ourselves. We were trying to build physical products before we'd established an online presence. We sort of did things the wrong way around. And the Mopods did okay, but didn't sell that well. When we focused on building the online world, that was when the magic started to happen. So we hit our tipping point last summer. And in 2009 we grew from about 1 million to over 10 million registered users. We started generating revenue. We're now very, very profitable and just still growing like crazy.
Where did the profit, point to where the profit started?
So we, in January, basically almost a year ago today, about a year ago, we launched subscription. So Moshi is free to play and you can access new parts of the world if parents pay a few dollars a month. And then it just took off like a rocket, and about May we turned a profit.
And would you say that Club Penguin sort of gave the training wheels, or it trained the public? People are used to it, they trust it, they know how it works?
I think that's very fair to say. It also trained investors and talent, and everyone woke up to the
They knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
Because when we first talked, it was like, you had to sort of explain it more than once and so on, and people were going, okay, and you've got these monsters and,
Everyone gets it now. Club Penguin really helped trample the long grass and show that, not only were kids playing online, but there were opportunities to create very successful businesses.
What would you like to say into the camera, into YouTube, to all those people who doubted you at the very beginning?
All those investors that wouldn't return my calls,
exactly.
And wouldn't listen to us. Well, to be fair, I could see their point. There were so many different undistinguished or undistinguishable virtual worlds bubbling away, and through a combination of luck and skill.
And I was a skeptic too, right?
But fair enough. But at least you invited us into your class and gave us a couple of hours of your time.
Years ago.
So when we met, and one of the reasons the site did have problems and just wasn't gaining traction was we had none of the social tools that we have now. That's absolutely been the major contributing factor to the success. So it was more a one-to-one experience, a little bit like an offline toy like Tamagotchi or Furby. And the key turning point for us was realizing that kids love chatting and showing off and connecting with their friends just as much as adults do. And we felt there was an opportunity, instead of trying to mimic Club Penguin, of creating something that was more akin to Facebook, but safe and built specifically for kids in mind. So we have a friends tree where you can add new friends and show off who your best friends are. We have a pin board where you can leave each other messages. There's a forum, and all these social tools, when we added them, the growth just went through the roof. So the virtual world and the virtual pet are obviously important, but they are kind of peripheral to the core of the experience, which is a very rich social one.
One of the things I noticed that I think I actually mentioned, and maybe in a Kid Screen article, but it was the idea that when you came in and you clicked, your cursor actually changed. It was sort of a dynamic experience immediately. Mm-hmm. Where did that idea come from?
We just have lots of quirky little ideas like that. I love Pixar, and that's a great inspiration for us as a company, building quality and humor into everything. So that was when the screen is loading and you're waiting for your room to appear. There was just a little Moshi monster that would follow your cursor around and try and eat it. And kids loved it, and it made the loading time almost disappear. And it's why in hotels you see mirrors next to the elevators, because people look at themselves and time flies through the roof, just distracting. And so the enormous amount for kids to explore. We haven't opened all of it up. There's Mount Kilimanjaro, there's the Moran Meadows, there's Candy Cane Caverns, just a huge amount of silly, fun stuff for kids to explore. I think monsters, kids love them, boys and girls. They appeal to young kids through to teens and beyond. So I think, again, a little bit of luck and maybe a little bit of foresight, choosing monsters as an area to build around.
Any underlying social agendas in Moshi Monsters?
Well, one of the things I'm personally very interested in is education and making it fun and relevant for children. And games are an amazing way to do that. And a lot of teachers are starting to allow games into the classroom. So kids are solving puzzles every day with their Moshi Monsters against the clock. They can see their best score and their time. So I think that's a very powerful thing. And that's helped parents become comfortable with the site as well and feel happy paying for it. So I think that's important.
Can you name like one or two of the coolest things in Moshi Monsters that you wouldn't see unless you dug around a little bit?
Let me think. One of my favorite areas is the secret tunnels, which are a little bit tricky to find, and kids obviously love secret stuff. So we have an underground disco down there, which is for the members only. And it's a bit like Guitar Hero, where you hit the keypad and you make your monster dance, and Simon Growell will judge you afterwards, take on Simon Cowell. So that's one of my favorite bits. But I think the most popular part of the game, Exhibit C, is these little creatures called moshlings. And as bizarre as it sounds, kids love adopting virtual pets, but they love virtual pets for their virtual pet even more. You know, Neopets had pets, Penguin has Puffles, so we have little moshlings.
I think actually, though, the secret sauce or the secret to Moshi Monster's success would lie in your shoes, which I'm going to just show here, because if the CEO and head guy is going to be wearing...
It's slightly tatty. If I'd known my shoes were going to be on camera, I'd have given them a quick polish.
I would definitely polish those shoes. But I think that speaks very loudly as to the playfulness and the irreverence of Moshi Monsters, and it's worked. It's working.
Thank you. Yes, still a long way to go, but we're in great shape.
So we've talked about the past and the present. What about the future?
So we're still making it up every day as we go. Every day is different. We had our biggest ever weekend just gone, adding hundreds of thousands of new users a day. It's been extraordinary. So we want to continue making the virtual world as amazing as possible and adding new features and developing that side of things. But we want to look at the physical side of things as well that tie in to the world. So as I mentioned, trading cards with
So now you can
cards.
go back to the original plan, right?
Yes, exactly. But the timing is right. Now we have this installed base of 12, 13 million users around the world. Suddenly TV companies are taking notice and chatting to us, and all the toy companies want to speak to us. And so we're in we have more leverage and a more interesting position.
What
to
is your
negotiate.
background? It comes from business, education?
I was one of those ever so slightly annoying kids that was always setting up entrepreneurial businesses, the proverbial lemonade stand. I did BMX bike shows in my front garden. I ran a computer magazine when I was 11. And then when I left university, I set up a company called Firebox, and I love new products and gadgets and toys, so we would sell these online. And we created a product called Shot Glass Chess, which is basically replacing the chess pieces with shot glasses. And we fill them up with wine and or whiskey against vodka, or orange juice against lemon juice. And so that business grew, but I felt that my big passion is games, and I felt there's a big opportunity in the intersection between the internet and video games, where you could play with hundreds, thousands, even millions of people, create completely new social gaming experiences. And Moshi kind of was the natural extension of that thinking.
How many kids' minds have you engaged?
Well, there's almost 13 million that have registered and signed up at the site to adopt a Moshi Monster. We can build this into Pokemon for the digital age. I think there's an extraordinary opportunity here for these new internet-savvy kids. So I would love to continue building an amazing world that kids love and are engaged with, but also have the opportunity to play with Moshi on iPhones or iPads, to watch a TV show or a film, to collect the trading cards, to engage in the world in any way they wish.
Well, thanks for coming over to the estates.
Yes, thank you for chatting to me.
Yeah, and hopefully maybe some of the kids in our class at NYU will see this on YouTube or wherever, and we'll say, "Hey, I remember those guys."
Great stuff. Yes,
crazy guys.
That was a fun afternoon we spent with you guys.
It was a little bit random.
Yeah, it was, but it was great.
But life is that way.
Absolutely.